there's two schools of thought here. There's one school of thought that will just push the boundaries of your JavaScript by having all of these fantastic, lovely frameworks and libraries without any regard to the size of your application. I guess it's up to the developer to decide what frameworks and libraries to use. And then there's another school of thought that is, let's try and condense everything down to the smallest, simplistic, minimalistic thing that we can possibly have. And not only is that going to be best for the end user using the application, but it's also going to be great for the developer maintaining that application going forward. Why would it be great for the end user? Well, because when you have a smaller application running on the client, that means that it runs faster. I do a lot of backend stuff, right? So we do a lot of monitoring on the backend code to see how fast and speedy things are, like API requests, and we put in caching layers and all of this stuff like memcache to cache all the responses, and we use crazy technologies to flush that cache and to prevent stale cache and all of that good stuff. But we as backend developers can't really have too much say in what the front end is actually doing in terms of how it's rendering all the information we pull it down. And there has been times where I have had discussions with both front end and back end developers, and there has been an argument as to where the speed increases should be. Should they be in the front end? Should they be in the back end? Should they be in the database? Personally, I'm a full stack developer, so I kind of take the view of there is speed improvements to be had at every possible level, but obviously go and find where the bottlenecks are and focus on those first before actually minimizing other bits and pieces. Because obviously when you do minimize things, you are changing. And when you're minimizing legacy stuff, I mean, you're actually changing quite a lot. It's quite a drastic change, because if you want to replace one library with a lighter library, then that's quite a core change to make. Whereas if it was an API response and you were just caching that API response, well, it's going to be the same API response regardless of whether it's been cached or not. The only danger there is having stale cache. And obviously with the MySQL, maybe it could be structured slightly better, but the response coming back could be the same response as it's always been.